Hi, seventh grade. Today is Wednesday, and you are going to continue working on the social classes of the Aztecs. One thing that I wanted to make a connection to is Aztec civilization is pretty similar to medieval civilization in Europe. At the very top, you have an emperor, then you have nobles, then you have priest somewhere in there, and then you also have soldiers, you have the middle class like merchants and artisans, and then you have peasants, and at the bottom you have slaves. In medieval Europe, slaves were like the serfs, and in the Aztecs they were just slaves. So very similar. The Aztec Empire had one emperor at a time. In medieval Europe, each kingdom had an emperor. Okay, and some kingdoms were bigger than others. But I want you guys to start thinking about connections between civilizations or peoples of different regions. So there are similarities and there are differences, but we're looking at similarities right now. So you're doing this on Wednesday. On Tuesday, you guys worked on a couple questions. You were defining like what are some of the characteristics of a noble, of a peasant, and so forth. The largest class was the largest class. By the way, it was the peasants. They were the largest class. Commoners refers to people that are like merchants, artisans, and so forth. The priest class is very important in the Aztec civilization because they are the ones that practice the human sacrifice. They're the ones that have the connection with God or the gods. You did have a question at the you did have a question on Tuesday that talked about what are the differences between the nobles and the peasants, and some of you guys did a good job, but some of us forgot to include evidence. That is incredibly important that you have a clear claim with evidence and an explanation and a source. You are going to be assessed on that probably next week. You're also going to be assessed on listening and speaking next week, and we'll have practice for that. Today, we're going to continue working on organizing Aztec Society. So, you at the very top, we have obviously the emperor, the ruler, the person that's in charge. Below that, we have the nobles. Technically, the emperor is a noble. He's just the top noble. And then you have the priest. These are in order, by the way. So the rulers are the very top. And then you have the commoners. Below the commoners, you have the peasants, and below, at the bottom of the social class, you have the slaves. Slavery is different in the Aztec civilization than in other major civilizations, right? And you'll see that in a second. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is you're gonna use this documents. You're gonna use this document is in Classroom, and I'm gonna link it to. It's in Drive. I'm sorry. I'm gonna link it to Classroom. So you'll be using this document. It's a pretty old document, but it has pretty good information, and also the News LA article that you were supposed to have done on Monday. So you can use this document and also that document to fill in this chart. This chart. So it says. So obviously, I've given you the names or the classes on the left hand side. And what you're doing is you're going to be giving me a summary or description of each class from the document. Okay, relevant evidence from the source. Hopefully, it probably is going to be a quote. And then you're gonna pick a picture from Google. You can just Google this and paste a picture. It needs to be relevant to the Aztec. For example, for the emperor, you can't just pick a king that is from Europe and expect me to think that that's an Aztec king. So for this, you would just type in Aztec emperor or Aztec king and paste it on this space right here. Okay. If I see that you just didn't do that, then I'm gonna have you do it again. For this one, you're also going to be doing connection. So summary of description and also a connection. Now, and I'm going to show you guys what mine looks like. So I've done one for you already, and you don't have to do it again. Again, I've done this one for you already, the slaves. So my summary says people could be slaves if they were conquered and or if they sold themselves to be slaves. So, for example, a person had a debt. They owed someone money, so they can be their slave until they pay that debt. So slaves worked as farmers or servants. They were not resold and usually were protected by Aztec laws. Slaves could eventually buy back their freedom. Slaves did not pass their condition to their kids. So in the United States, when the United States had slavery, and around the world, right? If a slave had a kid, that kid will be a slave as well. But in the Aztec civilization, a slave's kids will not be slaves themselves. So this is my summary. This is my summary. This is all my summary of the source. And I looked at both the News Daily article and the other document that I'm going to link. And I made my summary based on that. And here's my connection. This is my connection that I made. Looks like the form of slavery of oh my god, there's typos here, sorry. Of Aztec Society. The typo there, sorry. Looks like the slavery of Aztec Society was different than other societies such as in America. In the United States, the children of slaves were also considered slaves. And in the United States, slaves were sold from one person to another. It looks like that was not allowed in the Aztec Society. And then I have a quote here. Unlike slaves in many societies, Aztec slaves had a number of rights. They could own property, goods, and even other slaves. Interesting. So in Aztec Society, you could be a slave, and then you could even own slaves. So you were slave can own another slave. Interesting. So that's what you're doing for ruler, emperor, nobles, priest, commoners, and peasants. So Wednesday you're gonna work on this. On Thursday we're gonna introduce listening and speaking, and you are going to be assessed on it. We are gonna have several times to practice taking notes. And then next week we're gonna focus on Aztec religion and the conquest of the Aztecs by the Spanish. So this is your work for today, Wednesday. So yeah, please submit it. Please don't submit something that's incomplete. It's I find it to be disrespectful. I'll see you guys later. Bye.